This video discusses what is called the product rule. So what you want to look for here is if you are doing the derivative of the product of two functions, you need to be able to first identify what those two functions are that are being multiplied. And then it goes like this. You're going to keep the first one the same. You're going to do the derivative of the second. And then you're going to add to that. And you're going to flip. You're going to keep the second one the same and do the derivative of the first. And so what I say to remember this is the first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. So I'm going to jump into some examples down here. F of x is x squared e to the x. Find f prime of x. So f prime of x is going to equal, it's easy for me here to identify those two functions. They are x squared and e to the x. So f prime of x is the first, so I'm just going to leave x squared as is, times the derivative of the second. Well, the derivative of e to the x is e to the x, plus the second function, which is e to the x, times the derivative of the first function, which would be 2x, using the power rule there. And there we have our derivative of that. You do not need to worry about simplifying this. Just leave it as is. Second one, we have f of x equals the square root of x times 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus 10. Again, I can easily pick out my two functions here. I have the square root of x, and then I have this polynomial to the side. So the first times the derivative of the second, using the power rule here, that would be 9x squared minus 8x, plus the second, keep it exactly the same, 3x to the third minus 4x squared plus 10, times the derivative of the first and the derivative of the square root of x. I need to think about that as x to the 1/2 power. And then I'm going to use the power rule. It's going to be 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 power. And again, we're done. Last one here, we have f of x equals the square root of x times g of x. Now, I don't know what this function g of x is, but I have the square root of x times g of x. So I've got a product going on. And then it gives me some information about g of x, specifically at g of 4 and of g prime of 4. The question is, I want to find f prime of 4. Well, I'm first going to figure out what f prime of x is, and then I'm going to plug in 4 for x. So f prime of x, I'm going to find the derivative of this. I'm going to use the product rule. It's the first times the derivative of the second. I don't know what the function g is, so the derivative is just going to be g prime of x. Whatever g would be, I would do the derivative of that. Plus the second, g of x, times the derivative of the first, which would be 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. Okay, then it asks me to find f prime of 4. Well, that means I need to go through and plug in 4 for all of these x's. So f prime of 4 is going to be the square root of 4 times g prime of 4 plus g of 4 times 1/2 times 4 to the negative 1/2 power. Okay, so if we evaluate this, the square root of 4 is 2. G prime of 4, it tells me that g prime of 4 is 3. So 2 times 3 plus g of 4, it tells me that is 2, times 1/2 times 4 to the negative 1/2 power. Well, 4 to the negative 1/2 power, 4 to the 1/2 power would be 2, because that's a square root. So if it's negative 1/2 power, that means we're going to get 1 over 2 here. It just makes that go to the bottom. So I'll just continue to solve here. We've got 6 plus, this would be a fourth. 2 times a fourth would be a half. So 6 plus a half, you could say 6 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and give you an improper fraction here. 13 halves would be 6 1/2. Okay, so that is the product rule.